Main event Muhammad.
Yo, I like the sound of that.
We out here. How's it feel to actually be here the fight week and be actually going through this process to headline your first card?
It's been amazing. You know, it just literally feels like it's all a part of the same trip that I was just on when I fought Lima. So it was like same people, same hotel. It just feels like it's a normal day for me now.
What was the health status coming out of the Lima fight? Because I think that was kind of was that the only thing potentially like holding you back from maybe taking this opportunity, the damage to the legs or anything like that?
No, like literally after a couple of days, I was fine to go. You know, I hit up the right people. I called Paul Felder, you know, the guy who's literally fought the best kickers in the game. I was like, hey, how long did your leg hurt? And he sent me like a picture of his leg super bruised and black. And I was like, all right, I'm not there, so we're good. I iced it for a little bit. I was fine. Once I found out that I had a fight, I was like, all right, let me go jog. And then it felt good jogging, so that's all I really needed to know.
Yeah, when Dana White was asked about you stepping in here, like obviously it seemed Colby Covington was the first priority a little bit, but he just said Belal wanted this and he really chased this opportunity. How did it go down from your perspective to get this fight?
Yeah, you know, I was, at first when I fought Lima, I thought that Covington had the fight already. So then that's why I didn't call him out after my fight. But if I knew that, I would have called him out on the mic. You know, this is the fight I want. I want to fight the best guys. All these guys are sitting here on the sidelines not wanting to fight, but we're prize fighters. This is what we get paid to do. So, like, for me to get an ESPN main event against the number 3 guy in the world and a guy that Dana White just said if he wins, he's going to fight for the title next, boom, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to steal a shot.
Yeah, is that what you think you could do? Do you think you could slide in here and maybe get the next title shot with the win here?
Oh, definitely. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to put on a performance that people aren't going to forget. It's going to be one of those performances. It's like, what have you done for me lately? That's what people remember. Like, who's the last guy? So me coming out there, putting on a great fight, a great show, and finishing Leon Edwards, then they're going to be like, the fans are going to be wanting this fight. They're going to be like, you know, Masvidal just lost to him. Masvidal is not that good. We don't care about his following, yada, yada, yada. This guy just fought. He earned it. So let's give him the shot.
And I saw you retweet the clip of Kamaru Usman talking to John Morgan about you and saying, you know, don't sleep on Belal, basically, like he's a really dangerous guy. What did it mean to you, not that you need anyone's validation or anything like that, but to hear the champ talking about you in that light?
You know, it means a lot because, you know, the fans, there's a lot of fans out here who look at rankings and say this fight doesn't make sense. But like fighters, real coaches, they know this is a good matchup. They know that skill for skill, we're neck and neck. We're good with each other right now. And this is a fight that I'm going to win. And, you know, my coaches, my team believe in me. But knowing that the champ got his eyes on you, the champ sees you. I just was with the GOAT right now, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and he was like giving me pointers about my last fight and telling me, I'm like, dang, you watched my last fight? He's like, brother, yes. And I'm like, it just means a lot that you have the respect of your colleagues. That's the only people I really care about. Those are the only people that matter to me because those are the ones that really understand the sport, understand the game.
And I know you're a little bit in the media with us. You got your podcast and everything. You're with Khabib. Did he give you any insight on his plans?
He's going to be coming out, remember the show, pretty soon. I'm getting close. We're inches away. But no, you know, he's a great coach. Literally seeing him practice and coaching the guys. And, you know, my teammates that I brought with me had the honor of being a part of the practice today and yesterday. It's, like, amazing to see how these guys train. And, like, you don't realize how blessed you are with the opportunities you're given. And shout out to Ali Abdelaziz for, like, making these opportunities available for me and my team because, you know, that's a small group right there. They're a private group. So to be able to learn from a guy like that who's the best to ever do it, it's amazing.
And as far as Leon, he's been out, it'll be 600 or so days since between fights.
600?
Yeah, something like that. So for him, I mean, he claims, we just talked to a bit earlier, that he's a completely different fighter. He won't be recognizable from the last time we saw him. How do you prepare for that? I mean, do you just have to go off the tape from the RDA fight and before that, or can you prepare for potential strides he's made since then?
For me, I'm not a big tape watcher. You know, it's one of those where I let my instincts do the talking for me. My coaches will watch, see little subtleties, but there's no substitute for cage time, for fight time. You know, you could sit there and spar and you could lift all these extra weights and say, I got the best nutritionist and I got the best mental coach. But on fight night, on that night, you have to show up. You have to be there on that night. You have to be that fighter that day. And for me, I literally was just in there. So, like, it's just another day in the office for me. He hasn't been in there a while. And for you to take that much time off and then to fight a guy like me, a guy that's going to be in your face, a guy that's going to be freaking making you sweat, making you bleed, making you breathe hard, that's a whole different experience that he hasn't felt in a while. And he hasn't even felt with anybody he's recently fought. So, like, it's a whole different experience. And he's going to realize that he needs that cage time. He should have fought somebody else. He should have waited for somebody else because he's going to lose his opportunity of getting that title fight after this fight.
As a media member, I always appreciate when other people are doing great journalism. Did you ever find out what was in Ottman's bag?
Those good, dude. Shout out to those two right there, man. Him and his brother are literally the most genuine, best people I've ever met in my life. Literally, they took care of me all last week, and it's crazy how those guys get so much hate from like fans and stuff that never even met them before in their life. They're like people literally troll them for no reason. But like if anybody who's ever met them, anybody who's ever been with them, like they literally treat you like brothers. So shout out to those two right there, man. And I'm just glad he's back in the UFC because he's an amazing fighter.
Yeah, they are very friendly, man.
You met them? Dude, amazing, right?
Moving on from that, do you have any sort of sympathy for Leon's situation, right? Like he's had loads of fights, they've been postponed, they've been cancelled. Do you look at that as a more active guy and think, oh man, that would really suck if I was in that position?
Yeah, exactly. I look at his as like the sad story where it's, if I'm healthy, if I'm in fight shape, you got to take advantage of that because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know how you're going to feel tomorrow. This is literally the most hardest sport in the world to train for. Like you could get injured jogging, you could get injured wrestling practice, you have sparring practice, you have grappling practice. There's a million ways to get hurt in this sport. So like you have to take advantage of your health when you have it. And for a guy like that who's been out that long, some of it's his own doing and some of it's just unnatural reasons. Like for me, I'm just happy to be able to take this opportunity so quick where people are like, oh, why are you okay? Or could you do it? Like if I could walk to that cage, I'm fighting in that cage. So for whenever the UFC calls, I'm always going to say, yeah, I'm always going to be that guy because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Obviously, I mean, he's been out for too long, but do you think there's could be a balancing act, right? Like if you're not fighting regularly, then you're saving yourself from damage and stuff like that, and you can improve on your skills. So do you think perhaps there's some benefit to not being as active as other fighters?
I mean, there's some benefit, but then it all goes back to how you're training. Because I know some guys that'll sit there, lose their career in the practice room. They'll sit there, spar super hard, kill each other in the practice room. So for me, I don't do that. My team, we're like the smartest training partners. We go like kind of like Max Holloway, where it's like light sparring. We don't have to. You're not gonna condition your chin in practice. Your chin's not gonna get better condition. You're only gonna lose years off your life from that. That's where I feel like guys lose in the cage. Unless you're getting knocked out regularly, if you're winning, fight every week. It don't matter. But like if you're training smart, if you're eating right, like I didn't have to. After a fight, you sit there, you have some gluttony. You go to freaking McDonald's, Taco Bell. You eat terrible, but you just had 8 weeks of eating healthy. Your body was perfect. Everything was going good. But then after that win, you want to celebrate, so you eat terrible. So like I didn't go through that process. So I probably put an extra 5 years on my life by not having to eat that splurge of fatness.
I'm only asking you this because I asked Leon, do you have any opinion on Meghan Markle and Prince Harry leaving the royal family?
No.
Didn't think so.
Well, speaking of that, and you kind of touched on it, this is such a quick turnaround for you as well. Are you feeling 100%? I know there's a lot of time, there's always a bit of nagging injuries that fighters just work through, and then they just, here's another fight and they take it. But are you feeling 100% in this one? And were there any things that maybe a little time off would have maybe did a little bit better, or are you glad that you're getting right back in there?
Honestly, this is like the perfect scenario for me. I feel good. I felt perfect. Like I said, you're usually going into fights injured because of long camps. You're overthinking it. You're watching a million hours of tape. You're stressed. You can't sleep because you're like, oh, did I do this? Did I do that? Oh, I forgot to look at the way he walks to the cage and stuff like that. For me, this is all simple. It's a lot easier. I don't have to overthink the process. My body feels good. I was just in the cage. And thankfully, like I made it here healthy. That's the biggest goal whenever you're doing a long camp or something like that. It's just getting to fight week healthy. So for me, that last fight, I was good after a couple days, literally, and I was jogging. I was ready to work out. So like it was like I didn't need hard sparring because I literally just hard sparred with Diego Lima, and it was just all about getting your timing right, switching to fighting a southpaw, getting my mind right. But I already fought 5 southpaws in the cage. Jeff Neal is probably a better southpaw than Leon Edwards. I fought with him. I trained with him, so I understand the process already.
And, we've had other fighters, especially a guy like Dom Cruz or something that's like, oh, ring rust isn't real. It's a mental thing or this and that. But what is your opinion on that? And you're looking at a guy, and you kind of touched on it earlier, that has been away for so long. Is it just about being out of the fight speed, of the speed of how it will play out there? Or is it getting hit? I mean, what are the biggest things that you think is really going to affect him going into this fight?
The biggest thing that's going to affect him is experiencing a guy that's going to be in your face for this long, like ring rust, it doesn't matter if you're going against a guy that's going to allow you to get your timing in the cage, allow you to stay on the outside. All right, get comfortable a little bit, throw a jab here, move around. But I'm not that guy. I'm going to be a guy that's going to be in your face, walking you down, making you look to your corner for advice. I'm not going to let him breathe. So he hasn't experienced that in the UFC, and I know he didn't experience that at practice, and this ain't practice, this is fighting. So like for me, I'm gonna have to push him to his limits. I'm gonna push him to his breaking points, and that's gonna be his issue. He hasn't felt that in 600 days or however long it is. So for him to get that all in one day, it's gonna be the worst 25 minutes of his life.
And on the flip side, you sort of said, here's a guy that shouldn't have been holding out. He should have picked up a fight. He should have did something. But you want to steal his shine, and you want to try to get that title opportunity afterwards. Are you willing to kind of sit out and wait to get that opportunity? Should you get a wonderful finish or a wonderful performance and get the victory here, and you're put in that same situation, will you take a fight if it presents itself, or will you say, I think I'm ready for that title shot and hold out for it?
No, I'm gonna be one of those guys always gonna say, especially if it's Colby Covington, because after this fight, that's who's next to him, and I hate that guy's guts. If I ever see that guy in the street, I'm hitting him. So it's one of those where obviously that's a fight that I would want that fight before Usman, because stylistically that's a fight that makes sense, and that's gonna prepare you for the Usman fight, who's the champion. So for me, it's just keeping the momentum going. If I could keep fighting, if I'm, God willing, I'm healthy, inshallah, win this fight, and if they want to get me back here a month later against Kobe, why not? I'm down.
And finally, what are all the things that need to line up, and what needs to happen to make sure that you get your arm raised on Saturday night?
The only thing that needs to line up is that the car is going to have to pull up on time to the arena. I need to get out the car. I need to get my hands wrapped, and once I'm in that cage, I'm winning this fight.
Best of luck.
Thank you, bro.
Well, just to follow up for you, I know you've not spoken highly about Colby in the past, but you said you hate his guts. Why is that the case? What did he do to make you feel that strongly about him?
Man, I just hate evil people. Like, you could sit there and say it's a character, it's that, but like, you want to say the things that he says and the things the way he talks about people, the way he disrespects people. Like I said, I'm from Chicago, so like those type of people, we don't let you talk like that. So if you say something like that about people I know, people I respect, you're gonna get slapped, you're gonna get hurt. It's not gonna happen. So for me, it's all about, this is a sport, like you said, it's martial arts. So it's about respecting people. You don't have to sit there and there's ways to do trash talk, and there's ways being just very disrespectful to countries, to groups of people, to Muslims. The way he's disrespected religion, he disrespected Khabib, who's like the face of the Muslim MMA community. And like for him to do something like that and to like think it's all a part of the act. This ain't no act. When we see face to face, you're gonna know that your act just got you beat up.
Would a fight between you guys, if that did come to fruition, would it be hard to keep your emotions in check to a degree? Like, would that be something that you maybe not experienced going into the cage against a fighter before?
No, I mean, I've been in a bunch of street fights in my life that, I had to do out of anger, and you see red, and it's like that. So it's like, for me, I'm one of those guys where it's just another day in the office for me. I never get emotional when it comes down to fighting. I never get in the cage. I hate them, but I think it'll just build up for the lead up. That's the only time I get emotional, is just like leading up. But like, I'm one of those guys that could flip a switch where I could sit there and talk trash about you right now and be angry about you, but I don't even know you. But or I could just be calm, cool, and collected. Blah.
And last thing, you've talked several times over the years about this division, the guys aren't willing to fight below and things like that, and it's been harder for fighters like yourself to climb and get into the rankings and all that. Do you feel like for you to make this leap in your career that you plan to have Saturday night, it had to go down like this, like someone like a Leon who lost a big opponent, and it created an opportunity for someone like you?
Yeah, literally, me and my coach were talking about it too when they first booked this fight. We were like, man, watch. One of them's going to pull out. We have to be ready. We have to stay ready, because that's the only way these guys are going to say yeah, when they have to say yeah. Because if you would have offered him an 8-week camp against me, he's going to say, well, it's not worth it. Same way he did with Wonderboy. He said it wasn't worth it. Why am I going to fight down? I deserve this. He feels like he deserves all these things. And now he put in a situation where he had to say yes to this fight. And for me, like, I won 8 of my last 9. He's won 8 of his last 9. We have the same record. And I feel like I fought in tougher opponents. Why has he fought in tougher opponents? Because he's beat Donald Cerrone, he's beaten Dos Anjos, but those guys were all on losing streaks when he beat them. Those guys, they already had notes of how to beat him. And then the guys that beat him before were Colby and Usman, so he just followed the same playbook. So for me, I felt like I fought tougher guys that were coming off wins. And like Dustin Poirier always says, paid in full. Like, this was a long road. I had ups and I had downs, but I belong here. It's not one of those things where it was given to me. I had to earn this. I had to say yes to this fight. It wasn't like it was just given to me.
You gonna belong in the UFC video game after this one?
I'm gonna be like the Michael Jordan, where they can't put him in the game because he's so good.